Thank you so much for joining us. As I mentioned, my name is Oriana. I'm General Manager of Tourism Investment at Emirates, and I'm delighted to have you here, our first online briefing associated with the Moreton Bay Business and Innovation Awards for 2022. This session is focused on demystifying the awards. And providing you with the information and the resources that you need to be able to submit a successful nomination. I'm just going to, in terms of agenda, just quickly share cover today. Firstly, I'll provide a brief overview of the award, and I'll also share feedback that we received from judges in 2021, which has helped to inform a number of initiatives this year, including this nominee briefing. I will then hand over to Caroline Lovett from Credible Solutions, an expert business writer, to run us through the benefits of submitting into an awards program, top 10 hints and tips, and question and answers. And then we'll allow for some time panel discussion with our panel. So as I mentioned, online today, we've got Caroline Lovett from Credible Source Solutions. Caroline, if you could give us a wave so everyone knows. Yep, beautiful in peach today. We then have Sandra Simpson from Alexon Electronics. Alexon Electronics, hello Sandra, were the inaugural winners of the Advanced Manufacturing Excellence Award last year, and also 2021 winner, 2021 Business of the Year winners last year also. And then we have Sean Reeves from SRJ Walker Wayland. Lovely to see you, Sean. Sean, in his own words, is a serial volunteer. We were just asking him, or someone was asking how long he's been associated with the awards. Forever. He has been a judge since the very, very start of the awards for the past 5 years, and he's also SRJ Walker Wayland is also a very proud sponsor of the award. So I thank everyone for joining us today, and lovely to see you all. So about the awards. The awards are the region's leading and premier business awards, and it is a title that we take with, it is something that we proudly, it is something that we continue to seek to drive towards. There are 3 key objectives from the perspective of us as organisers and deliverers of the awards program. Firstly, it's one, to acknowledge and celebrate the contribution of businesses within our region. So to provide a platform for you to be able to celebrate, to acknowledge and to celebrate your achievements with your employees and with your clients. From an outward perspective, there's a real key focus on ensuring that we are continuing to showcase what is happening within our region to those outside of the region to help drive whether that's new talent coming into the region or potentially new investment coming into the region. And that's a really important element for us as an awards program to ensure that we are not only shouting and profiling ourselves to our region, but also outwardly, and continuing to position Moreton Bay as an attractive destination to do business with and to invest in. And finally, the third objective of the Business Awards from our perspective is to ensure that we are providing a pathway for you as nominees to potentially look at and explore awards on the national, state and international platform. So enable you to look at other programs to gain that recognition. As mentioned, the awards are delivered by Moreton Bay Region Industry and Tourism in partnership with Council, Moreton Bay Regional Council, who is our principal sponsor and financial partner. And we have a number of fantastic corporate sponsors who I'll talk about in a little bit later. As you would have all seen, I suspect that you've all jumped onto our website. There are 15 business and individual categories and a Business of the Year award. The Business of the Year award is awarded to the top scoring finalist. So it's not a category that you can nominate in. But there are a number of categories that hopefully you've had the opportunity to review and to look at in context of your business and what you're seeking to achieve. We have onboarded 45 industry leaders who form part of the official judging panel. That has been incredibly important to us for us to ensure that we have the top minds from our region and from across Australia helping to assess these nominations. So we believe that the judges, really do drive and enable us to drive the calibre of the awards. And we're delighted to have so many fantastic business leaders as part of the judging panel this year. Just some key dates. We're 2.5 weeks into the 9-week nomination period. We opened up on the 16th of May and we'll be closing on Sunday, the 17th of July. We will then allow 3.5 weeks for our judging panels to review the nominations. Last year, we got roughly 170 nominations, so it's quite a lot of work for the judges to be getting through. We'll seek to announce our finalists from the 22nd of August and then look to obviously celebrate and announce winners on Friday, the 21st of October at the Edens Hill Hotel. Moving on, I did mention that this year we've made a number of changes, and it was off the back of the fantastic feedback that our judges provided us last year. We heard from judges that they saw a wide spectrum in the quality of submissions, so really great submissions at one end and ones that potentially needed a greater support and more work. We heard from judges that they often saw answers being repetitive, and we responded to that this year. Each category, all the judging panels came together and they reviewed all the criteria for all the categories. So we really have taken the opportunity to press the reset button and ensure that the criteria questions for each category are fit for purpose and reflective of best practice nationally and internationally. So that was a really great feedback that we received from judges, because when we did review the criteria, we clearly saw that we were unintentionally asking the same question, but just in a different way. So hopefully when you jumped in and had a look at the questions for this year through the Awards Force platform, you've started to see greater visibility and greater transparency and format, and you haven't seen that, that repetitive nature in questions. We heard that judges were told us that a number of the application lacked those tangible evidence or tangible data to support their motherhood statement. So that's something that I will hand over to Caroline shortly, and she'll unpack that a little bit more to help you as potential nominees understand what judges will be looking for when they are assessing their nominations. And we also heard from judges last year that submissions were, it was really clear where submissions were written by the marketing or the administrative lead. So again, we'll be unpacking that in a little bit more detail with you, and we'll be encouraging you to ensure that you bring your whole team to the table as you embark on this awards journey. From nominees, we had limited feedback, but where we did get feedback, we heard that nominees were telling us that it was often they were time poor, the process was onerous. So again, we've sought to reflect that, and we've sought to refine and condense the questions as part of the criteria review that we did earlier in the year. And we heard that nominees felt that they didn't have a story or a success to celebrate. So we've you know, this is part of the strategy around engaging nominees directly and being able to give you the confidence and to be able to highlight to you what success potentially looks like. And I suspect that you're in your businesses doing and working your businesses day in and day out. And this is an opportunity for you to reflect, because I know that there'll be some fantastic successes and some fantastic stories for us to be able to elevate and to tell. And lastly, we heard from nominees around a perception around them not being able to compete, particularly if they were a small business against a large business. And again, we tasked our judging panel to ensure that they address that through the criteria questions. And really, if you look at the criteria questions for the categories this year, you will see that there is a real focus on impact rather than volume. So there's less about tell us how much you have grown from a quantum perspective, and more about tell us about the impact that growth or that innovation or that journey or strategy has made to your business and to your clients. That has resulted in the delivery of a nominee support information booklet. Hopefully you've had the opportunity to potentially download it from our website. If you haven't, please jump on and do so. It's a really great resource. And on that note, I really would like to thank Caroline Lovett for her support in helping us deliver that resource. So without further ado, I am going to hand over to Caroline to present the next stage of this briefing.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ori. Now, my disclaimer is I have no control over Moreton Bay Council recycle bin people that have just driven up my street. So any background noise, I apologise now. One of the first things I want to share with you before we start this is for you to understand that Moreton Bay Regional Council and especially Embra are completely committed to helping businesses in the Moreton Bay region shine. That's why we've devised this demystifying business awards process. And that's why working with Moreton Bay Council as well, they've also designed this booklet. I don't know if you can see that easily without my back screen, which is about Welcome to your 2022-23 Awards Guide. So Moreton Bay Business and Innovation Awards appear in that, and a lot of other awards as well. So this isn't the end in the beginning of your awards journey. This is where we help you to kickstart you, if you aren't already successful, into the next level as well. So that's why I'm really enjoying this and the work that we've done on this. So the first things that we've looked at, we want to share with you, we want to have a look at why to enter business and industry awards. So I've been working in the awards industry now for probably on and off for 20 years in different businesses. And since starting Credible Source Solutions in the last 4 years, I've created awards programs, I've judged awards programs, and I've written nominations for people who want to enter awards. So I've got a real holistic view as to what people are looking for, what people are thinking about writing, and also the learning behind how to write. So that's why this is important, to help you guys to be the best you can possibly be in your submissions. But the first thing we talk about, especially when I talk to people who I believe have got some great stories to tell, they say, what's the point? Why bother? And a conversation I had earlier with Sandra was, it takes so long. I haven't got the time to do that. Well, let's have a look at the benefits of why you should consider entering business and industry awards. Far away, Oriana. Number one, it's the journey. How many times have you constantly moved forward in your business and never stopped to reflect on how well you have done so far? So you absolutely owe it to yourself and to your business. There's an expert assessment on your submission. If there's nothing better than learning from the experts as to how well you're doing and getting that positive feedback and where they see you've got areas that you can do even better, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. It is also about professional development. One of the biggest things we do when we're in our business, working on our business, very few business owners take time to develop professionally. They haven't had an interview for a long while. They haven't done a tender submission or a grant submission, and they haven't got time to start. The awards process allows you to develop professionally and think about how you write truthfully and fully about your business. And then some of these awards programs, including the Moreton Bay ones, have interviews for certain categories. So you get that opportunity to have that professional interview as well. Next, what do we have next? Repurposing. There is nothing better than writing an award submission, which is a real positive story, capturing all that great information about your business, and then finding a grant you'd like to enter or a tender you'd like to go for, and knowing that you've got this beautiful story that you've submitted in previous awards, that you can use a high amount of that content for your grant and tender process. Because when you're going for one of those avenues, they want to know about your business, and you've already captured a lot of this information. So it's a great repurposing tool as well. Now, I know that we have some little introverts amongst a lot of our Moreton Bay community that don't like to be out there in the public eye. Is that you, Sean? And there's some people that think they're introverts, which we must send the definition to them so they fully understand what it looks like. But the biggest thing that we can share with you, and a great example of this is Mike Arini from Solar Bollard Lighting, who's one of my people that I've worked with on an array of awards. In the first couple of seasons of the awards, he said he didn't think he got anything from it. And then all of a sudden, he started to see his profile increase, his reach increase, his social media engagement increase. And he realized that this overnight success he was waiting for was happening beautifully behind the scenes. So you're increasing your profile by meeting people, you're increasing your profile to the judges who will see things about your business and they'll talk about your business. And these are experts in those areas, remember? And you'll also increase it when you're networking at the awards night. You get to meet some great like-minded, successful businesses. And again, the networking opportunity, it's absolutely amazing. The awards night, I think for me, in the line of work that I do, I've actually acquired some beautiful clients from the awards night and in past events I've been at. I know Mike has made some really significant business and industry and also local government connections at awards night. Don't underestimate the power of networking entering an awards program can give you in your business. And the last thing, which is what I'm really passionate about, while I love the fact that you have success stories, if you don't tell anybody, did it really happen? When you share your success stories, a sense of pride in yourself and your business is your own form of recognition. And if you have employees, consultants, even customers that are part of your business, you have no idea how contagious that success story is as you share it, as they see how well you do, and they feel they're part of that recognition process. So don't underestimate the power of the recognition. And a person who feels appreciated will always do more than what is expected. Always remember that. If you can show that you appreciate their contribution to your business success, they will always give you that extra discretionary effort. Absolutely. Beautiful. So they're the reasons why you should enter awards. It's a sense of pride. It's a sense of feel good. So what are our tips and our hints to help you with this? Well, this is quite interesting for us. How many of you have ever thought about building your awards program into your business strategy? Or how many of you have just stumbled upon awards and thought, oh, I'll just enter these now? The biggest success story you can have is to start at the beginning of your strategy planning for your business and say, this year, I want to be the most customer-focused business in the region. Or this year, I want to be recognized as the best advanced manufacturing business in the region. And when you plan what you need to capture in data, in testimonials, in staff feedback, any improvements, any costings, any stories that you have to tell, once you start to identify what you need to capture and you start to put that away, it makes the process of writing an award nomination so much easier because your content is there already. The next tip is when you open up that awards program and you want to enter, just don't read the questions. Look for the criteria and the question guidance that goes with it. What does the question look for? What does it say it's looking for in its answers? It will give it the best opportunity for it to be a successful answer that you provide. Make sure you review the criteria. Now, this is where Ariana mentioned earlier about getting the marketing team to write for you. It is wonderful if you have a creative team that are really good with words. But every question, remember, has a word count. So they can't write chapters for you because they're excited and want to win. Make sure you get the right people around the table as well as your marketing team. And we've got a brilliant story, Ariana and I, from our first event that we held, which just blew us away. When you get the right people around the table to tell them you're going into an award, we'll use advanced manufacturing. So you've got your manufacturing team, you've got your innovation team, you've got your marketing team, you've got your leadership team. You might even have some external people that focus on talking to your customers in your business. When you get them around that table and you all share your stories, that's where your eureka moments happen. One of the last people from Sesame Lane Childcare Centre, they said when they put together their submission, they sat round a table and people from their centres came that ran their centres. And one of the people around the table said, we've done this, to which the leadership team turned around to them and went, really? We didn't know about that. They could have had a real missed opportunity right there and then had they just gone with the executive or the leadership team around the table. So make sure you've got the right people to contribute to your submission. And this is the part where from the judges, and this is what the judges have been wonderful, giving their time to provide feedback on previous submissions, because we've learned a lot from the judges. The motherhood statements that we talk about along the lines of, I'm the best customer focused business in the world, is wonderful, but you need to back it up with evidence and data. So when you're telling people about your advanced manufacturing, your efficiencies, the way that you're reducing environmental waste, make sure those sort of statements are backed up with evidence and data, because that's what your judges are looking for. You tell me you did, but show me how you did and what your results were. So important for a winning submission and a winning answer to a question. Now, this is not about digging up the dirt, okay? I'm sure there is some of our judges have shady histories, possibly not. This is really about getting to know what your judges do now. So Sean, you're an accountant. And we had this conversation about the fact that judges have this criteria that they have to stick with, and they must follow that because that's an even and fair judging process. But every time a judge reads a submission, they bring a piece of themselves to that submission. What lights them up? What gives them their aha moments? And what makes them think, wow, that really stands out? And each judge will have a different aha moment. So just broadly, this is just a broad way of thinking from being involved in judging. When I've worked with lawyers, they're very keen to find what the risk mitigation is and the compliance part of it in the questions. Accountants do like the financials, a lot of them. They like to see how well you're doing financially. Can you back up your statements? Lovely smile there, Sean. I'm not seeing a nod ahead, but yes, give me the money, absolutely. But the customer service people, which is a background that I came from, when they like the data, they like the evidence, but they love the stories that you weave through it, that give it a real flavour of committed customer service. And why that's important, when your judges come to the criteria and your question guidance and they've ticked all those boxes that you meet that, when they deliberate together, because they've got too many outstanding nominations, which is why we're having this session today, we want to make the judge's job so hard that we have to lock them away like a jury for a few days because they can't make a decision. Some of them will bring their own flavours as to why they think you stand out. So make sure you know who your judges are so you can talk to them while you provide your evidence and your data. There is nothing worse than a rushed submission. You miss a whole heap of information on a rushed submission. So prepare steadily. They're open now. You should be preparing now, looking at your questions now. Now that's my dog. Can you hear my dog? I'm so sorry. He's locked in underneath and there's nothing else I can do with him. Prepare steadily. Make sure that you have all your information up front and you're starting to drop it into the questions that you're reading. And then you can keep tidying it up and reworking it along the way. When you rush towards the end of the deadline, you miss some valuable information. Now, people don't realise they can do this. The Moreton Bay Awards are brilliant because they will give the finalists and the winners feedback on their award submissions. But any other nomination or nominee that's put in a submission can actually approach the team and ask them for their awards feedback, and they will provide it for them. They don't give it to everybody because not everybody's interested, but the finalists and winners will receive theirs, so make sure you ask for it. And even in other awards programs where they say that the judge's decision is final and we won't enter into any feedback, you can sometimes go back and one-on-one and ask for specific feedback, and they will give it to you. Most people don't think they can speak to previous winners. Previous winners are your best source of information to help you with this submission. Why did you win? You know, what made you want to enter? What did you do differently that you think made you stand out? What we found, which was really another eureka moment for Oriana and I, was Sesame Lane had been entering for a few years. And then we asked the question, well, what did you do differently last year because you won? And they just turned around to us and they said, we just answered the questions. Amazing. So you think about that, they have so much to share and they try and cram it all into a submission. And from that, they miss the real key points of the questions that the judges have to judge from the criteria and their question guidance. So you can still blend in your story that adds the extra stuff, but you must answer the questions. Proofread. Autocorrect and spell check can be your friend, but it can also be your enemy. I've sent some really horrific texts to my mother in the past by accident because autocorrect has changed a few letters on me. So make sure you proofread. The judges have an element of tolerance for the odd typo and the odd spelling mistake. But when it's all the way through your submission, it can actually damage your submission, the caliber of your submission. And one of the conversations that we had was one of the judges mentioned that in a nomination, the person who was writing it wanted to talk about orchards. So it was in a food and ag environment, and they were talking about orchards, that's my Pommy accent. But what happened was autocorrect changed the first word and all the other words to orchids. So throughout that whole nomination, it was talking about orchids. So make sure you proofread and double check. We never asked if they won that one. Oh no, they got feedback that they didn't win, that's why. And storytell. Remember, while people need your judges need the evidence and they love a good story as well. So blend your story in there so they can get a real feel for the heart from you and your business. Because next thing, will it come up? People don't have 30 seconds to be interrupted, but they always have 30 minutes to hear a good story. So that's why you must make sure your story is woven into your submission. So this is the first year that we've actually had FAQs as well, I believe. I think Oriana and I were talking about that. We've had a look at some other FAQs and other programs, and we've had a look at the FAQs and designed these for our Moreton Bay Business and Innovation Awards. So how many nominations can I submit? You can submit one nomination for as many categories as you want. What we do want to share with you, though, employer of choice is an interesting, employee of the year, sorry, is an interesting category for us, because what we found in the past and the judges have seen is one business might submit 10 employee of the year nominations, and it's almost like a lottery win. Well, we've got 10 in, surely one will win. That's not the way to probably present that. The best way probably to look at that is at your strategizing at the beginning of your business is to say, right, we want to have our best employee as nominated for Employee of the Year. And your strategy throughout the year would be to design a program for your employees and a challenge for them to say, through your KPIs, through your customer feedback, through our leadership team observation, we will capture information throughout the year. And provided you must also meet some of the, be able to meet some of the questions that will be answered in the Employee of the Year nomination, our best of the best will be our one nominee for that category. That incentivizes your team to work through the business for that year because they know there can only be one that'll go in. And it also helps with that discretionary effort as well because they want to be in it to win it. So that's a great opportunity. This one really interests me because this has come up in so many other award programs as well. I'm a small business, how can I compete with the large business category? What I like about what MBRED have done working with Moreton Bay on the awards program is to weight the awards and to look at how the awards work and to work with the judges to make sure, as Oriana said earlier, it's not just about volume or how well you're doing financially, it's the impact you're making. It might be in the community, it may be to your business, it may be to all range of aspects. So it's a really good way the business is looking at it. And the other thing as well is Moreton Bay MBRED will continue to look at this category, and down the track, you never know, they might think we need to do something different again for small business, never say never. But right now, they are created a level playing field as much as possible. And yes, you can attach supporting information. However, do not write the 300 words in the question and then say, see the 25-page document attached for the rest of the answer to this question. Your 300 words are your requirement to meet the qualifying information that you need to put in that question. If you want to share graphs, if you want to share customer testimonials, if you want to share a little bit of additional information, make sure you refer to it in the question. So, for example, we've exceeded customer expectations by 150%. All our customer satisfaction surveys show this. Please refer attached a net promoter score or customer satisfaction graph. The judges aren't obliged to look at the information or go looking for it. So catch their eye in your answer so they know there's something else they need to look at. Now, the judges, how are they appointed? Well, the first thing I need to let you know is they do not get paid. They do this for love. Sorry, Sean, are you waiting for the check still? And what I like about the way they've created the judges here as well, the judges are selected on their experience, their track record, and their knowledge of the industry as well. So they've worked with the judges, they've refined the questions because the judges found that they weren't working for the quality of submissions. And now we've got these judges that know what to look for. They've got their criteria that they've got to align with, and they're the best of the best to judge you. So that's your opportunity then to be developed, your professional development. Now, how are the final scores calculated? So they do have a tough job, judges, but I'm really sorry, judges. I really want to make it easier. I really want to make it harder. We want the best of the best out there. Each criteria question is scored out of 10 points, and then it's weighted according to the criteria. The final score is calculated based on that aggregated weighted average. And then the top 5 scores per category, they become the finalists for that category. What was the next question? And how are the winners determined? So the winners for every category, except for Innovation Excellence, Businesswoman of the Year, Employee of the Year, and Entrepreneur of the Year, they're declared based on the highest scores assessed in the written submission. So if you think about what I said earlier, if everybody is being assessed and judged and you've got some real good winners all coming out with the same score, that's where your stories come through. That's where those eye-catching moments work for your judges, where they can have a real robust conversation about why they think you should be the best of the best. The interviews, then the other finalists, the categories, they have a 30-minute interview with the judging panel, and they score them out of 10, and then the winner is based on the aggregated score. The written submission and the interview for those other categories are worth 50% of the total score. And what's in it for me if I win? Well, you get to celebrate, you get to be recognised, you get to celebrate with your team how great you are. But the other things as well is they've looked at this MBRIT to see what we need to do, because the biggest thing is we've often heard from people that, oh, I think I got some prize money, I don't know, I think there was hangovers next day or whatever. So they've really looked at how they can make it a real credible prize for you. So each category the winner will receive $500 in prize money, but they'll also have the opportunity to work with an awards expert to plan their awards program or to plan them for their next submission. They'll give them that quality of time, around about 10 hours worth of work, to help you to build up bigger and even better, to go external with your awards programs outside of Moreton Bay if you want to. And the best thing is, I mean, what's in it for you? There is nothing better than celebrating with your clients, your customers, your employees, and even for yourself that you've successfully won. There's a lot of media and external marketing for your business as well that MBRIT and Moreton Bay will do for you, and even, you know, other winners and finalists with you. I find what I like about Moreton Bay is we all share each other's success stories. It's a really beautiful area to be in. But part of it is, it's about helping you to continue to shine. It's not just about the money. And because Napoleon said, no amount of money will induce someone to lay down their life, but they will gladly do it for a bit of yellow ribbon. We don't make you pay for your certificates. We don't make you pay to enter. We don't make you pay for your trophies. All you have to pay for is a good night out and the taxi home. Beautiful. So that's those 3 areas there of why enter, the hints and tips, and the frequently asked questions. But there is nothing better than talking to the experts. So I'd like to introduce Sandra from Electronics. Is that right? Am I saying that right this time?
Yeah, that's right.
Beautiful.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this is a beautiful story. So this is a beautiful business that entered a brand new category, advanced manufacturing, hadn't entered awards before. Sandra and I had a chat about what awards programs look like. went back to her business, and you did the submission, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Beautiful. And in between what, coffee breaks or whatever, because there wasn't a lot of, you were a really busy person. And what happened was, not only did they win the advanced manufacturing category, they took out Business of the Year. So first of all, congratulations for that, because that was fantastic. Well done.
Thank you. It was awesome and such a great experience. And I really wish this for everyone and for every team.
Good. And your business appreciated it as well, didn't they?
They did, even though that at the beginning I was pretty much discouraged because of the big workload I had at that time on. But in the end, when the team and the management actually saw the amazing success and the amazing night, they were so appreciative. It is something that I believe that every business should actually go through and experience. It was awesome. I do encourage everyone to go through this big effort and doing this.
That's brilliant. That's really good to hear. That's a great testimonial. We need to write that one down, Ariana. Beautiful. So I do need to ask though, Sandra, why did you enter the Moreton Bay Business and Innovation Awards? Well,
I might maybe start with, I'll sort of like follow up on what you have mentioned before about the community and the beautiful community we have here in Moreton Bay. This is actually the reason why we entered. One of our customers, Mike Ariani from Solar Bollard, recommended the competition to us and said, oh, you guys, you should really go and submit because you have amazing equipment. You are supporting the region with a lot of work opportunities. And I believe that you have a chance to win. You should do that and try it. We thought about it. I actually started my application, and then when I saw the number of questions, I stopped and then I didn't go any further. I stopped for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then I started receiving phone calls from Steve Butler from Embred, and he must have noticed that my application is sitting there open, and I actually owe this to him because he called me and he said, Sandra, do it. It is worth it, and you will see in the end that there is something behind it. So thanks to him, thanks to Embred, I actually did finish and completed our application, and we won even the Business of the Year, which was such a fantastic achievement for us.
That was brilliant. That's a great success story. Absolutely right there. And even to look for the business, I mean, they're highly skilled technical people that you work with, aren't they? So that reflective opportunity doesn't happen that often. They're constantly moving forward.
That's correct. And one reason why we actually entered the awards was we are currently looking for staff. There is, as any other tech business around now, there is such a shortage for engineers, technicians, and pretty much anyone who is willing to go a little bit further beyond, like do the extra bit. And we thought that becoming an award-winning business will be something that will mean for our future employees. It will bring our name out there. It will raise awareness, and it will support us and help us when we are looking for new employees. And it did actually happen. Every time we talk to someone, we actually mention this, people notice this, and it brings extra value to us as a business. So I can recommend this, definitely.
Beautiful. We need to get an advert with you in it. Absolutely. That's brilliant. So that was one of the benefits. What other benefits did you and your business find from entering and winning the awards?
We definitely, what do? We support local people because most of our employees, we are based in Brendale, and we try to employ local people from the north part of Brisbane, from the whole Moreton Bay area, and it does bring us exposure to more people in this region. And what we wanted to do, because advanced manufacturing is such a big topic recently, we are trying to showcase that Australian manufacturing is huge. It used to be big, but then it sort of stopped progressing that much. Now we are trying to bring our capability back to Australia, and we want to make sure that this topic is out there, that people are aware of how experienced, amazing Australian businesses are here. And this will also give the extra bit of value to Moreton Bay region, because we all want to work together on raising the awareness of us being a great culture and great industry. So it was pretty much raising awareness of us as a business, as Elexon Electronics and Elexon group of companies where we belong to, but also the topic of advanced manufacturing is quite important to us.
And how many employees do you have? So
I work for Elexon Electronics, where we have 45 employees, and it is, I guess, it is a smaller business. If you say around 45 people, it's not a huge business. So thinking in the perspective of someone preparing the award, it is quite a big chunk of time. Not every business has a marketing person or admin person who can allocate a lot of time to this. Neither are we, but when you actually look at it at the perspective that it can be done within a few hours, you can sort of spread it within longer period of time. It is doable, it is achievable. And I didn't realize when I first started working on the award that you can actually start the application and you can go back to it in a couple of days with fresh mind. You can have different ideas. And you don't have to tackle it all at once. That's actually one of my recommendations that I realized after I finished the application.
Brilliant. And we'll use that in the next couple of sessions that we have to let people know, because it's great to take sort of the experience that current people have and share it with others. So thank you for that. But out of your 45 employees, how were they when they knew you'd won? The ones that weren't there at the awards tonight, how did they feel?
It was, I still have, actually, I wish you could see it, I still have goosebumps remembering that amazing moment when we won. It was incredible. And it was a team bonding activity. It was something that none of us will ever forget. And especially those, it was 10 of us sitting at the table. And when we heard that we won, it was something that we just couldn't believe at all. And then it happened again when we won the Business of the Year, which was completely unexpected. We didn't even know that, like, we didn't count on winning this one. And the team aspect actually became probably one of the biggest benefits out of the whole experience, because it bonded us as a company. It is something that we have gone through together, and it was a huge reward for us as a team after really hard year. It was a year, like, of course, during COVID. Now we've got component shortages issues in electronics industry. We've got a lot of other issues that everyone's coping with. And we decided that the last year, we would sort of like push through. We will grow the business, try to expand ourselves out there, reach different markets, and it was really difficult. Everyone was exhausted. Everyone had to do much more than they would usually do. And winning the award was something extraordinary, and it was like the special reward for all of us, doing a little bit more than we would have normally.
Beautiful. That's excellent. So we know you went into the advanced manufacturing category, and that's why you chose that. That was a new category. It fitted your business beautifully. But what advice, so you've given some great advice about keep going back to your submission, don't try and do it in one hit. We've advised start early. You've advised about, look at how big it is and take one bite of the elephant at a time as you do it. What other advice would you have for those who want to enter, several award categories? What else would you tell them?
I would probably suggest, of course, it has to be one person who's looking after the submission. It has to be someone who will put all the information together. But it worked really great for me to talk to different departments. To even just talk about it, bringing the topic up was great support and encouragement for me, because I knew that once I start talking about it, people will actually know that I'm doing it, and I'll have to submit it, that we are in this. And it worked well. People were coming to me with few ideas, and it is exactly as you said, Caroline, it is all about the story you tell. So what I was looking for were a few tips and ideas about how to tackle the whole submission, what end of the business I should mention. And in our I believe that there is a story about absolutely everything. Every business has some kind of a story, whether it is personal story of someone who started the company, or some amazing employee, or just the process that they engaged in, or some sort of innovation they started. So it's always about just sitting down and thinking, talking about it with other people and hearing new ideas. So definitely talk about it, not only with internal employees and colleagues, but also people from outside, because everyone's got some great ideas, something that you probably, or all of us, would never think of.
Absolutely, that's brilliant. Now, we do have a question from Sharon, but I think Sean's going to address that when we come to the judges. Has anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask Sandra about the process, anything about the awards? Now's the time to help demystify. This is a novice that hadn't entered before, and it just goes to show, with the right content, the right mindset, and the right people around the table, you can be in it the first time and win it. Barbara, fire away.
Thank you. It's great hearing from everyone. I haven't been in business long, so this will be my first year entering into any awards, starting with this one. Asking about the application process, I'm a solo entrepreneur and I'm going for the Entrepreneur of the Year. For the application, do you write it from a personal perspective, or do you write it typically from a third person perspective?
Good question. So for Sandra, for the business one, you wrote from the business point of view?
Yes, I did. Write it from the business point of view, but I also incorporated like a personal story of the founders of the company, because like our company is 15 years old, but we had a predecessor which was also 15 years old company. So altogether, there are two stories, like personal story of the original founder who had amazing achievements, and quite an interesting story, starting in a avocado shed at a Sunshine Coast with $5 lent by mum and dad. And then he grew this company, and 15 years later, he joined another owner, and two of them together now have multi-million-dollar innovation technology company in Brendale. So it's I think it's always good to give a bit of a story behind it.
Yeah. And Barbara, in relation to whether you write it personally, as in the I, or in the third person, I've never seen a submission where anybody has been penalised for the way they write, either about in the I or in the third person. Some awards programs will specifically ask for the third person. What I have done in the past with awards programs, if I've wondered how they'd like it answered, I've just engaged the person that's organising the program. And I'll let you into a little secret. It makes their heart sing when you engage with them in advance, because they know that you're not going to miss the mark. We have this real aversion to engaging with them because we feel stupid, or we feel that we should know, or we'll feel that they look at us going, well, look, they don't even know how to write an award submission. And that's not how they think at all. They love the engagement piece. So no question is a stupid question. The only thing I would ask is put your questions together on one piece of paper so you're not backwards and forwards and don't lose an answer in there. Now, we have one more question before we move on to Sean, from Kirsty. Hello, Kirsty. So Kirsty's involved with several community groups. They all have brilliant stories, passion and commitment to what they do. However, not all of them are registered, incorporated, or have any kind of official system or committee in place. How could they apply for different categories? Now, that's an interesting one there. From our Moreton Bay Awards, Oriana, what category would you pick for community groups that have stories of passion and commitment?
I mean, I avoid in any particular category, because I'd prefer to dive deeper into the conversation to understand the business, understand your stakeholders, and potentially who your employees and peers are. Excellence Award would probably be the best fit. I'd love the opportunity to have that conversation directly with who you're referring to. The business needs to be registered. But again, I'd be really keen to sort of unpack a bit more detail to understand what that structure potentially looks like. But as part of the nomination process, the nominee does need to input that.
Yeah, beautiful. And Kirsty, just to share with you, conversation we can have separately about the Moreton Bay Awards. But in that little awards booklet that I showed earlier, there's a range of awards there for community type groups. So that's worth having a look at outside of the area, but still look at what you can do in the area, because we want you to shine within Moreton Bay, and then we want to send that light out and show the rest of the state and the country how good Moreton Bay is, and that includes you as well. And who, oh, did you cut out? Oh, who cut out for Kirsty? Sorry. And Sharon's asked, how do we contact engage? What I might do is I might move on. Sandra, thank you so much for answering all those questions. That was brilliant. And congratulations again. You are a huge success story. And we're very proud of how you guys have done. And we can't wait to see how you shine now outside of the region. So keep going because you've got lots more to do. So Sean, we'll come to you if that's all right. And before we start, what we might do is we might answer Sharon's question. So you can give some more context around that, Sean. And also, I want to find out from Sharon at the end, she talks about how do we contact engage. So we might ask a little bit more on what she means around that. Far away, Sean.
Where do you want me to start?
Let's start with Sharon's question. So Sharon said, are businesses who may only have 1 to 3 staff and generate under 100,000 currently in sales revenue encouraged to apply? Is there a category for these types of businesses, or are these awards just for businesses who generate higher revenue sales?
Okay, well, on my notes, I'd already written previously, it's not the size, it's the story, and that's what I put in that comment. If you have a look at a business, for example, that's been amazingly successful in the awards, you know, the aforementioned Mike Arini, and you actually understand where he's been at with his business, he's by no means big, particularly at the outset. What he has is a great passion for what he does, an amazing story, and a business that's growing in its capability and its exposure. And that's where he was successful. I've seen a number of award submissions from dog kennels in the customer services category that were telling really, really good customer service stories. So it's got nothing to do with size. It's about where you're at with your business and what it is that you think you're doing that's exceptional. And I might get a kick under the table from Oriana, but she's far enough away that it shouldn't hurt. In that you've got to be really careful here to make sure you do have a good story to tell and you're ready to tell it. I mean, my business has nominated for a few awards. Some of those categories have disqualified me from judging, and Oriana's had to find other judges for those categories. But when we've had a look at what categories we enter, we haven't decided just to take the lottery approach and enter them all. It's the ones where we think we're ready. And if there are 1 or 2 that we sort of go, gee, I'd really like to enter that category, I don't think I'm ready, so let's work on getting ready to make sure we'd be a good entry next year. And that gives us something, a focus to drive our strategy forward on in our business. And look, I take the point from prior. I mean, a lot of thunder stolen along the way, which is really good because it's good, consistent story. These aren't just award nominations that pop up from time to time, and you've got to come up with all these flash words, and then you just forget about it until the next awards. For me, what you put in an awards nomination is a really good grab from what should be your business plan and your strategy and your marketing. And if you're really struggling to answer some of those questions, I mean, feedback from nominees saying, you know, too many questions, too hard, not worth the effort. You really got to question why the business is thinking that way, because, as I said, those questions, those award categories are just plain and simple things that you should be taking into account every day in business. And Sandra, you're probably realise, having had that initial, oh gee, look how much work this is, once you got into it, probably started to give you a greater understanding of the business, a greater understanding of the breadth of what you do, the different things that people do, and you probably brought together some thoughts in that process where management were coming together and saying, hey, that's a really good question. How do we address that, not for the awards submission, but for our business strategy generally? And that's for me, you know, what the awards is about. It's just a summarising, a capture of words that you should have in mind or on paper or on a screen anyway, as a part of your business plan and your marketing process. So
brilliant.
Yeah, size doesn't really matter. It's the story that matters.
Yeah. So you touched on quite a few of the questions that we were going to ask. So just can you add to what your top tips are to nailing an award-winning submission? You've covered a few already. Any other top tips that jump out that you think, you know, that's what I look for?
Yeah, I'll rattle through that. Sorry, because I realise
that's
we're running a bit short of time. But
no, look, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I'll paraphrase across some of these questions if I can, because I think some of the messages are important. Initially, I got involved because I was, as Oriana says, a serial volunteer. And it's a great Moreton Bay initiative, and I really wanted to support it. But then pretty quickly, particularly as we got better with the framework around the awards, asking the questions when it wasn't just a free-for-all, which it was back in the day, it got easier. But honestly, the inspiration I get on an annual basis, I'll often finish doing some judging of an evening, have a cup of tea with my wife and say, would you believe we've got these two amazing businesses or two amazing organisations within our region? I never thought it. You know, that's really wonderful. What a great region we're in. And as a judge, I've got the benefit of getting that insight and get really warm and fuzzy feelings. And apart from that, I'm a really nosy bugger, so I need to know what's going on. So I guess for me, top tips are, I don't mind this thing being told in the first person because it's a story about us and our business. What I'm after is something that is concise, which is important because back in the early days we were getting War and Peace, that is relevant to the question. Read the questions, read the guidance questions, and please answer those. This is not like a politician that gets up in front of the press, gets asked a question and answers a different question with two key points and then does the same thing with the next one and the same thing with the next one. This is not a politician, get your 2-point message across. We're interested to stretch your ability to communicate your story and inspire us with responses, but it's got to be relevant. So it's a bit like reading a book sometimes that's hard to get into. I mean, I think I start and put down more books than I actually start and finish because I think, no, the author's just not getting me, and I've lost interest. So
beautiful.
Be sharp and concise and keep that interest going. Please, if you're going to put attachments in that say, have a look at this and have a look at that, do not write 2 words and put 50 attachments in and think I, as a judge, who apparently doesn't get paid, have the time and inclination to waste an hour on a submission because I've got to go looking for everything. Pull it together, and if you've got a quick grab that you think is going to add something to your story, chuck that in there, but don't send me to that 25-page document because, you know, I think last year I dealt with 150 submissions, so I certainly don't have an hour for each one.
No, beautiful.
That's definitely a fantastic note. Caroline has kindly asked it up and sent questions. So hopefully you've had the opportunity to review that in the nominee booklet. And Caroline has driven the point around keeping it concise, using bullet points, and making it as easy as possible and digestible as possible for judges to review. I'm conscious of time. Were there any other questions, nominees, potentially?
We've got a question from Casey that's just come through. Just jumped on, partners of self-published author. Casey, it might be something you're sort of looking for categories more than anything else. It might be worth, Oriana, if Casey contacts you direct, is that okay to have that conversation?
Yeah, Casey, more than happy. We avoid, I mean, we didn't highlight categories. You can obviously easily jump on and categories that are part of the awards program. It is such an individual decision in terms of what you're striving for, what recognition. But a really great case study on a printing business that won the award for environment and sustainability, and no one would initially think that a printing business would have the ability and obviously the story and the data to win such an award, but they did that strategically because they were obviously continuing to shift perception. So it really is depending on your business, but I'm really happy. Anyone that's today that wants to discuss specific categories, I'm more than happy to have a conversation, really dive a little bit deeper into your business and what makes it unique. Fantastic. I am conscious of time. I would like to thank everyone who has taken the time to be with us today. I hope that today's meeting has been of value for you. A big thank you to Caroline Lovett for kindly presenting and helping us deliver the nominee. And a huge thank you to the winner, Sandra Simpson from Alexon Electronics, and Sean Reed, they walk away past and current judge. I wish you a and thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you very much.